Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 129 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Sharona.
Oh, you're my Sharona. And this episode is sponsored by Cesar Olivares. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've come to that time where we need to already split a chapter. So today we will be discussing part 1 of chapter 6 of Harry Potter in the Order of the Phoenix, the noble and most ancient house of Black.
So is it just the noble and most?
Yeah.
Okay. And in the next episode, it's going to be Ancient House of Black.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
So make sure that you've read part of the chapter or the whole. It's up to you. And you're ready to wander your way into the details with us. But before we begin, we have some really exciting daily Nope. TM. Can't say it. Weekly profit. Just kidding.
Weekly profit.
Hold on. Haven't you used Wander before?
I don't know. This is where I thought I was.
Okay. I don't know.
It could have been a double.
Weekly
it's
profit.
okay.
We're constantly wandering, so it's fine.
Not all who wander are lost,
I
Tiffany.
didn't say I was lost.
Before you continue, I'd like to shout out Ethan because it's time to griffin your doors, huffle your puffs, raven your claws, and slither in.
Oh my gosh.
That's good.
That's
You
amazing.
should have waited
Ethan.
till after I was done.
Why?
What?
Because we're going to start, we're going to slither
the
right
summary.
into the chapter.
I thought you meant after your part. I was like, Sarah, that's the end of the episode.
Is it?
Wait, what?
Okay. So, couple of weeks. I don't know how long ago
Months.
it was.
It was months.
Months.
A couple months ago. We did an awesome interview with the Rolling Library. Like Rolling, like J.K. Rowling, the Rolling Library. And
Not the Rolling Stones.
no.
We're too busy for them. They keep asking us and we keep saying no.
Cover photo? Nah. We're good.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the article is finally out, so it's been released. I will definitely post the link to this so that everybody can go and download it. But it's really awesome. They talk about a bunch of different podcasts they highlighted: Potterless, Mugglecast, Us, Team Wizard, Fanatical Fix, and Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. And I think I got everybody.
I think that was everybody. Yeah.
And then there's also other articles in there too, which is really cool. So.
Yeah, it's like pages and pages and
Yeah.
pages.
And you can go onto the Rolling Library's website and you can see all their past issues, and they have a lot of really cool stuff. They've also, which is really awesome, they have recreated J.K. Rowling's old website. Like, it's workable. Like, you can go on it and like go on J.K. Rowling's old website.
Really?
It's really cool.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that because
That's
I
neat.
didn't get to experience that the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I did either.
No.
I don't remember, to be honest.
I
with
was
you.
obsessed with
I was
it. I was
playing
one of those people.
Neopets, man.
I was one of those people that would like always go to the door to see if there were any clues that had been dropped, and then like you had to like click in certain areas to like get the door to open. It was intense.
I was
playing-
too busy playing Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
Same.
that's a lie.
I was.
First of all, don't talk about my Squirtle socks. Anyways, no, I was playing Neopets and Age of Empires.
Neopets. Mine was always hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your pet, so that's about right.
I like that.
Also, J.K. Rowling.
Are we keeping
Excuse
you up?
me. Yes.
Are we
J.K.
boring you?
Rowling did also tweet like just a
Coming in
couple,
hot.
maybe yesterday, that the 5th Camoran Strike book is finished.
Yeah.
So for people who are into that series, that's cool news. I have never read it.
I don't think
My
have.
mom likes them.
I have to talk about her other tweet, which was part of somebody else's tweet. So Patton Oswalt tweeted out a quick video clip of him and his daughter, and they finished reading the Harry Potter series for the first time together. And now I'm trying to find it
Oh, I saw that.
amid all of this, but she retweeted it. Okay, so Patton Oswalt, he's a comedian if you don't know him. He was on King of Queens. I can't remember what season.
He's
Yes.
also the voice of Remy from Ratatouille.
Oh, is he really?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that. I love
He
him.
is?
Yeah.
He's awesome. He said, my wife walked in 15 minutes ago and caught the last moment of a 2-year journey. The look on Alice's face says it all. Thank you, J.K. Rowling. And he was tearing up. and his daughter was tearing up. I don't know if you saw this at all.
Yeah. You're gonna make me cry.
It was awesome.
It was.
I just got chills.
It's a very cute
Are
video.
they multiplying?
yeah.
And so Rawling retweeted that back out, and she said, "This broke my heart, but in a good way. Love to all the Oswalds." So, is she back on Twitter? We don't know. So, we'll see. I like that she finished a book, but give me something Potter.
Yeah.
Write something different.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
And then lastly, I wanted to remind everybody about our fundraiser. If you purchase anything from our Pride line, it supports Kira's top surgery. So if you go to swishflickcast.com and then click Pride, anything in that section, all of the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds from all of the purchases in our Pride section will go to him.
You're wearing a brand new.
I got it. The hoodie is like a thin hoodie, in case anybody is curious. It's like t-shirt hoodie. I love it.
It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are perfect together on that gray.
Yeah, I like the gray.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Tiffany, look me right in my eyes.
Look me in the eye.
Just the one eye.
Just one eye.
Arr, it's the recap.
Oh, shiver me timbers.
Oh my god.
So I was going to say it's a battle, but it's a pirate battle over who cares for Harry more. Harry wants information about what's going on with Voldemort and what the Order's plans are. Mrs. Weasley insists he shouldn't know. Sirius insists he should know. Mr. Weasley get in on the fight, and they help them meet in the middle, letting Harry ask some questions, and he finally gets some answers.
Can you tell me what they are?
Nope.
Okay.
Listen to our last episode.
Who's they? Who's us? We?
Mhm.
What?
What?
Ron and Harry make their way to bed, which I wish I was doing right now. Ron locking the door to keep Creature out, but not the twins apparating into their room, literally on top of Ron. It's a bit harder in the dark. They want to talk about like all the stuff that they learned through school and home. Just kidding, just from literally just the talk that they had, and what the weapon could be. They're gonna speculate, just like us. They want to be just like us, guys, because we're super cool.
I mean, yeah.
The next day that they the next day they have breakfast. The next day that they have breakfast, it's in like 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
They have breakfast, and then they help get rid of some curtains, not the curtains, but the doxies inside the curtains. While Fred and George keep some of them for their business their mom doesn't know about. And if you need a snack, please don't ask the twins. You don't want to eat that.
They're skiving.
Oh my gosh.
Molly has more cleaning planned after lunch. And then Harry meets the lovely Creature who really has nice words for everyone. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. Not so nice, Creature. Not so nice.
That's true. Okay. I love what I named my section because it makes me giggle after the talk.
But you know, there's also like you have the conversation with like the group, and then you go and you're gonna have it with your friend. You know what I mean?
Yes. So Mrs. Weasley is looking grim, and I said, "Oh no, did she see one?" She knew what they would be up to because obviously she knows all of these kids so well, and she knows her kids really well. So she knows that there's gonna be some chats going on. So she says, "No talking. Go straight to bed." Okay.
I mean, they do go straight to bed.
True.
They're sitting in
Two
bed.
of them do. Well, 4 of them probably.
They're all sitting on a bed.
Anyways, Molly thinks that Ginny might be asleep by now, and I said I don't think she really actually believed that, and neither did the kids. So if Ginny's not lying awake waiting for Hermione to tell her everything they said downstairs, then I'm a flobberworm.
I feel like it wasn't super late, so like. I also feel like she's sending them to bed at like 7:30. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like one of those things like, just go to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
But it's like, now you're twiddling your thumbs for 2 hours.
she's stressed out.
For sure.
So they
Stressful
say
time.
they say goodnight to her. The twins enter their bedroom. I'm sorry. They say goodnight to Molly and the twins, and then Ron and Harry go in the bedroom that they're staying in. And it says the blank picture on the wall was now breathing very slowly and deeply, as though its invisible occupant was asleep. And I said, we now know, because we've read the books, spoiler alert, this is Phineas Nigellus, who is an extremely helpful person when we need him in Deathly Hallows.
It's just creepy that it's breathing and he's not.
It was pretty weird.
Like, think about that
Probably
in a
just
dark
like
room.
right out of
No.
the frame,
Not okay.
you know.
Or maybe he's like laying back. Lay back.
Lean back. So just to get into a little bit, was a professor and headmaster at Hogwarts. Fozzie's snoring.
He's Phineas right now.
He is? Oh, was he just groaning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's typical Fosbear nature. So, obviously is one of the Blacks, a pure blood wizard, and was a member of the Slytherin house. He became one of the most, like, the least popular headmaster. He wasn't really into his profession, so...
I
Oh,
wonder
well,
why
that's
he
not
did it
good.
then.
That's why you should do what you
Like,
love.
why do it?
Or
For the
try.
title, maybe.
Yeah, it's prestigious.
For the
Yeah.
status.
Yeah. So I don't know. But it says, following his death in 1925, this is the wiki, the portrait was hung in the headmaster's office, as all of them are. And in 7, we come back to this character. So Hermione remembers that this portrait is in Grimmauld Place when they escape from Tottenham Court Road. And they go to number 12. And she's like, oh, I just forgot, or oh, I just remembered. And she shoves the portrait in her beaded bag.
Because she doesn't want Snape to know.
Correct, because they
That they're
obviously, it's at the beginning of the book. We still don't know what Snape is up to. So that transfer of information still wouldn't be great. However, Phineas, or Mr. Professor Headmaster Black, still knows who they are. So we find out in the pensieve that he tells Snape that they're in the forest of Dean, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Snape knows to leave the Sword of Gryffindor there and send cast his Patronus rather, because he was there.
Stuff just
too.
falls into place.
But I just like this little tidbit, like this portrait's here. This is going to be used later.
It's like a little Easter egg.
And honestly, like, this is a crucial
I wouldn't want that
character.
kind of Easter egg. It's scary.
Oh my god.
I don't want a portrait breathing while I'm sleeping in a room.
I think it'd be like white noise. It'd be nice.
No.
But anyways,
That would be really creepy.
I really enjoy how this character, however small we think it is just so crucial.
What size do you think the painting is? Talking about size. 8 by 12?
One Danny DeVito.
Oh, that's a large
That's
portrait.
big.
It's a
Yeah,
big painting.
no, I figure, I mean, he's a black, so we go
I
big or
was
go
thinking, like,
home.
Mona Lisa
like
small.
I pictured like 11 by 14.
Oh, I pictured bigger than that, like 18 by 24 at least.
Oh, I literally am thinking like piece of
Like
paper
an 8
size.
by 10.
Portrait?
portrait.
I
How
feel
big's
like
the Mona Lisa?
24 by 36. That's
The Mona
that's my final
Lisa is
answer.
like an 8 by 10.
Get out of town.
It's really tiny.
It's little.
Yeah, but
I
it's-
pictured
that's like
A nice
known to
11
be
by
weird.
14. It's just
no, go big or go home. I'm talking reboot of the Gilmore Girls, Richard Gilmore size portrait.
She's 2.5 feet by 1 foot and 9 inches.
That's more.
what about
That's
like
not a
Magnus
regular piece of
size
paper.
from Matilda?
But it's smaller than you would think.
A what?
Magnus size from Matilda, the painting of her dad.
Oh. I'm still sticking with 11 by 14.
How many numbers is this?
We're not ringing a bell. Ding. A
Anyways,
collective ding for all of them.
Just-
oh my gosh.
just keep in mind that this is really important for later on. And this is our
He's
first
coming
meeting.
back.
Yeah, coming back,
Back
to
again.
Black is coming back.
to be a little bit of a not nice person, but also saving everybody. Because if Harry
True.
wouldn't have found the sword, Ron wouldn't have come back, blah, 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 blah,
This might be a conversation for 7, but
blah. Write it down.
do you think that Phineas
We'll be there when
Nigellus
we're 40.
Phineas Nigellus only talked to Snape because he thought that Snape was on the bad side, so he was like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you where they are." Do we know that? Like,
I don't think so.
Oh, no, Phineas
'Cause
knows
he
that Snape
knows
is good.
he knows
Yeah.
everything because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
in the
yeah.
office.
true,
Yes.
true, true.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
so he
True,
was
true.
there throughout Dumbledore, all their conversation. He
Very
knows
true.
everything about Harry
True.
and his role in this wizarding world.
True.
What a
Creep.
World War.
True.
That
Happy
is
Monday.
creepy. Having people listening on the conversations. How many headmasters have there been? A lot.
Yeah, well, the whole wall's full, any hoot,
Not very
rather.
private,
Ron
is it?
tells Harry they can't let the owls out every night to hunt because it would look suspicious. Ron bolts the door shut, which was weird to Harry, and then he tells him why. It's because Creature does some interesting things at night. So he said the first night I was here, he came wandering in at 3 in the morning. Trust me, you don't want to wake up and find him prowling around your room.
Another creepy thing that would happen.
Anyways, he said. So he gets into bed, Ron that is, settles into his covers, turns to look at Harry in the darkness, and Harry can see his outline by the moonlight filtering in through the grimy window, and he goes, "What do you reckon?" I could just see him
I
like
like-
getting snug and be like,
I like how it was like italicized in the book too. Like,
Yeah.
what do you reckon?
It reminds me of like when I, back in the day when I shared a room with my sister and she wasn't there and I had sleepovers with friends. So like they'd be in her bed and I would be in mine talking, even though like we were really supposed to be sleeping. Like it's usually my cousins. And then we'd get in trouble because we would be like throwing ice cubes at each other. Sounds weird, but like we'd be like talking to each other like from different beds or eating sugar cubes. This is what this reminds me of.
"Sugar cubes. What are you, a horse?"
Yeah. I wouldn't do it now. I also wouldn't throw ice cubes at each other now, but well, maybe I would.
I'd
They
throw
were
an ice
hard.
cube.
We had fun times.
My sister and I would do shadow puppets because when we shared a room.
Oh, that freaked me out.
Okay.
A lot of things scared me as
We
a child.
did like typical sleepover stuff. Do you remember when we froze that one girl's bra?
We used to do that too.
I
Why,
love
though?
how you're like, yes. It's
No.
like you weren't there.
No, like, yes, that's what we did. Like,
Yeah.
growing up like
Well,
that.
I only did that once because like I'm not into shenanigans, and I usually would be the first person. No, that's a lie. Although the one time I slept over my friend's house, she had like a party for her birthday, and I was like the third last person to fall asleep. And the next day they were telling me that they were trying to put my foot in like a bowl. Like we had like a bowl full of ice that melted, so it was like ice water. And they were like, every time we like got close to taking your sock off, you'd move, and like I'd stick my hand out and I'd move it back. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Anyways, so Ron, of course, is referring to the conversation that they had in the kitchen. And Harry pretty much feels like they didn't tell them anything that they couldn't have guessed. The Order's trying to stop people from joining Voldemort. Ron freaks out at the name. Harry's over it. And then the twins apparate into the room right onto Ron's knees.
Ouch.
And apparently
I feel like that's
harder
pretty
to do in the
impressive.
dark. What, like right onto the knees?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Happy accident.
Yeah. Jeez. Couldn't have felt good. So the only piece of newish information was the weapon that Sirius was not supposed to mention. So they start speculating what it could be. Ron is luckily not holding his wand when he mentions that nothing could be worse than the Avada Kedavra curse.
I disagree.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this before at length. Like, there are worse things than, like, as Dumbledore says, than death. So it's suggested that maybe it could kill a lot of people at once. Maybe it's really painful, but they already have the Cruciatus curse for that. So they start to wonder now who has the weapon, hoping it's on their side. They think if they do have it, then Dumbledore must be keeping it safe, probably at Hogwarts. Ron thinks it's big.
What is this, Sorcerer's Stone?
I know. But size doesn't necessarily represent power. George tells us that, you know, Ginny's pretty good at the Bat Bogey Hex, and she's small.
We're going to get into good Jenny talk. I'm so excited for that.
I love Jenny.
She's pretty Bob's apron, you know?
She is.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the Bat Bogey Hex is, it was invented by Miranda Goshawk, and the incantation's not known, but it turns the target's bogeys, boogers, into large black bats that
Ooh.
fly out of their nose.
It's terrifying.
I wonder, how long does it last?
Let me read this. So this is a quote from Miranda Goshawk herself. However, when a person's bogies turn into black bats, which crawl out of their nostrils and flap away, you can generally count on them shutting up long enough for you to talk for a change. So I find this amusing.
You can do the bat bogey hex in Lego Harry Potter.
I thought you were gonna say Orlando, and I was like, what?
No, Lego Harry Potter.
I don't know what
That's
Lego
awesome.
is. Who's Harry Potter? What?
Guys.
He's a wizard, but what's a wizard?
Nothing. What's a wizard with you?
So this actually comes up later on, though. Sorry to
I was starting my
interrupt you.
part, and she's just, keep going.
It's nothing that you haven't done before. So this comes up later on in the book. Like, I like this is another Easter egg. Like, she uses it on, she being Ginny, uses it on Malfoy in Umbridge's office.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
When they're captured, when
At the
Ron
end of this book.
Longbottom, Neville,
Longbottom.
who am I, Snape? Jeez, and Luna. And then on a second occasion, she used it on Zachariah Smith, who's annoying her on the Hogwarts Express.
She's BA.
Okay, you can start.
Okay. Shh. Molly's outside. Okay. She's listening. So they can tell that Molly is lurking. And
Sorry.
the twins apparate back to their room because Molly is heading back upstairs to check on them.
Wouldn't she hear the crack?
I would think so.
Here's the thing about that. Why? I think it's a large crack when the person's not as...
Good at it yet?
Because
But why
Dumbledore
wouldn't she?
pops.
True.
Maybe everyone has a different kind of cracking, popping noise.
Dobby cracks too, though. So I wonder if, like, elf magic has, like...
Do you snap, crackle, or pop?
Because his is so, like...
But
when
truly, though, like, what if those are the three things?
Snap, crackle, pop.
And you don't know what
Yeah.
your sound is going to be until
for
you
real.
do it.
So
And
I
then the better you get, the better the sound.
I feel like the house elf crack, because their apparition to me is more powerful than a wizard's, because Dobby can do
All sorts of things.
what,
Dobby
wizards
wants
can't.
to do.
for example, Malfoy Manor's cellar. He can get in there, and it is a loud crack.
Do
It
they
was
call that a
loud-
cellar? I don't know.
Probably.
It just it makes me think of a dungeon.
Well, it technically felt like one for them. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder if the level of ability matches the sound. Because, like, if I were to apparate, I wouldn't want it to be a loud crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're just learning. They just got their
That's-
license. So I agree with you. No, I agree with
Oh,
you.
I was like, what are we arguing about this evening?
I wonder, though, with, like, Dobby snap, crackling, and popping into new places is, like, just... like the wards or something on these places, like they don't think that they think that house elves are so beneath them that they don't have to worry about them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I like what is happening on Discord. Do you see that?
No.
And said, Tilly, they're apparating into a dark room. Fred and George were just guessing where the beds were. Maybe if you can't clearly picture what the location looks like at the current moment, the sound gets louder. That would make sense for Dobby. He doesn't know where he's apparating.
Mm-hmm.
Harry just asks for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just thinking of Harry and apparating there.
When Dobby apparates into Privet Drive, or out of, does he apparate out?
He apparates out of Privet Drive.
I wonder where he was going. I don't know.
Where are you going?
I don't know.
I'll put a pebble in my shoe and watch me walk.
So I don't know.
Oh.
Thoughts to think. Continue the
Sounds to hear.
All right. Well, the twins apparate with a loud crack. And the conversation was pretty much over. So they all begin, meaning Ron and Harry, begin to go to bed. And Harry drifts off into a dream. And we know that his dreams usually mean something. So
No.
I did a little research, but let me read you what his dream was. In fact, many-legged creatures were cantering softly up and down outside the bedroom door. And Hagrid, the Care of Magical Creatures teacher, was saying, "Beauties, aren't they, eh, Harry? We'll be studying weapons this term." And Harry saw that the creatures had cannons for heads and were wheeling to face him. He ducked. So there was a website called HarryPotterForSeekers.com.
Gimme it.
And they say Harry's vision tells him he is the person whom Voldemort plans to use the weapon he is seeking against, long before Harry learns that this is a fact. Because the creatures are moving to point the cannons at him and shoot him. So he ducks.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Seer.
You're a seer, Harry.
I see what you did there.
Oh,
So then there's a little bit more. So another website, the Lexicon actually has a whole article on Harry's dreams, which I believe that we've used before for like our Harry's a seer stuff. But they're talking about this specific dream, and they say cantering is something either centaurs or thestrals might be expected to do, and both are later involved with the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. Centaurs in both the confrontation with Umbridge and the Fountain of Magical Brethren, thestrals as transportation to the battle.
Man.
So
I knew it
Potter
was something.
fans.
I knew it
Thought
was
that was really neat. So the next thing he knew, George was waking them up. Breakfast and cleaning the drawing room were on the agenda that day. And there's an infestation of doxies and a nest of dead puffskins.
What do you think they draw in the drawing room?
I was gonna ask, what is the purpose of a drawing room? Like, what does it mean?
It's like I think it's like a sitting room. They draw the curtains back.
Oh.
Whatever.
Is it like one of those like living rooms that you don't actually ever go in? Like one of those types
I'm
of
sure
rooms?
that house has a lot of those.
Yeah. Like my
Steph-
my
Steph
grandma
Renna
had a
Holmes goes,
room.
It's for fancy folk.
so
says
nappy.
on the good old Le Google, a drawing room is a room in a house where visitors may be entertained, in a historical term for what would now usually be called a living room.
My
Do you know
one-
why it's called the living room? Because they used to put dead bodies there and lay them out. Before there was like funeral homes for that type of thing, you'd be laid out in your own house.
Okay, I would
People
really
come and
like
visit
to
you.
start calling mine something else.
Okay, so doxies.
They were
Wait,
drawing
I had a-
pictures of them.
I had a friend who called like the front room in her house the French room. That was like
Oh, I feel like my
like
grandma
the
did that.
foyer, I
The
think.
But she
French
also
room?
called
Yeah.
like her
Foyer.
couch
A
a Davenport.
A Davenport, yeah.
And I remember she said something. I'm like, what?
You know, my grandma used to call her purses a pocketbook.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. And
Yeah.
then she used to talk about like the dog had to have a BM, and I was like, I don't know what that means. I distinctly remember being like by the Davenport, and my grandma said that. I was like, what?
Go get my pocketbook off the Davenport. Take the dog out for a pee.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so doxies are often mistaken for fairies, though they're quite a separate species. So like the fairy, it is a minute human form, though in the doxie's case, it's covered in thick black hair and has an extra pair of arms and legs. The doxie's wings are thick, curved, and shiny, much like a beetle's, and they're found throughout northern Europe and America, preferring cold climates. And that is a direct quote from Newt Scamander himself in The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Who?
Scamander.
Thank you.
Doxies are also sometimes referred to as biting fairies.
Well,
They do like to nibble.
that's rude.
I mean, if they like it.
Their venom is highly poisonous, and they bury their eggs underground. And doxy queens, it kind of sounds like bees, right? Doxy queens can lay up to 500 at once, and the eggs generally hatch in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes, queen.
Dox Queen.
Dox queen.
They're considered pests. They can infest houses, taking up residence in the draperies, as we see here. Removing them requires a good supply of doxycide. Alternatively, they can be dispatched with a simple knockback jinx, as doxies are particularly vulnerable to it, excluding the queens, which were more resistant.
I thought you were going to say, oh, just lost it. Never mind. Continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Then also puffskeins are
Is that thing that you guys have that's purple?
That's a
no,
pygmy
that's a
puff.
pygmy puff. So they're different.
Sorry.
So a puffskein is a small magical beast covered in soft fur and spherical in shape.
What does that mean?
It's a circle.
Thank you.
It is a popular wizarding pet found worldwide that does not object to being cuddled or thrown about. The collective noun used to refer to a group of puffskeins is a poofle.
Oh my gosh, it's so fluffy.
How cute.
They are scavengers. They eat anything from leftovers to spiders, but it particularly likes to use its long, thin, pink tongue to eat wizards' bogies while they sleep.
It's like Yoshi.
It is easy to care for. It's easy to care for.
Do you think it really likes the bat Pokédex?
Probably.
I
It makes
will
it more
literally
interesting to
vomit.
catch.
They're easy to care for, and they're known to emit a low humming sound when they are content.
They purr.
Yeah. Shaved or trimmed with a clipper, puffskein hair has magical properties and is useful as a potion ingredient, such as in Zygmunt Budge's variation of the laughing potion, which requires a few handfuls.
Does he love to laugh?
So, as Sarah mentioned before, she asked if it was the same thing as a pygmy puff, and it's not. It is related to the pygmy
I was
puff.
gonna say, are they cousins?
Kind of. Yeah,
Like
sort of.
cousins.
So a pygmy puff is basically a miniature puffskein. They're bred by Fred and George. Like, they created them, and they're sold
my
at
God,
Weasley
I
Wizard
didn't know
Weezes.
They're so darn crafty.
Right?
What are they bred
No.
with?
I don't know.
Maybe just breed the tiny ones until they get super tiny.
It says it's one of their most popular products, as George said they were having trouble breeding them fast enough for the demand. Ginny bought a purple pygmy puff named Arnold in Half-Blood Prince, and baby pygmy puffs are also on sale at the Magical Menagerie.
They are.
I love the name Arnold for like. That's just like a not what you think name. You know.
Yes.
I really want to get a dog and name him Paul.
That's cute. I love animals with real people names.
Yeah. It's like, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna snuggle Paul all night.
You would.
I gotta take Paul for a walk.
Yeah. Just put steaks for me and Paul.
I gotta buy Paul some kibble.
You know, Paul doesn't really carry his own weight around here, you know? But he is cute.
She had to wash Paul the other day.
Paul needs to be groomed.
Wash
Okay.
Paul's paws.
One more little fun fact is that if you remember in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt mentions Appaloosa Puffskins. That's why he came to New York. He's like, there's only one breeder of Appaloosa Puffskins in the world, and he lives in New York. That's what he's saying to Tina whenever she's like taking him in. Appaloosa Puffskins are a breed of Puffskin illegally bred by only one breeder in the world, working in New York until 1925.
We shut that guy down months ago.
Yeah.
So it says he did lie to Tina whenever he was explaining why he was in New York. He was actually in America to free a trafficked Thunderbird. So half an hour later, Harry and Ron, who had dressed and breakfast quickly, entering the drawing room, a long, high-ceilinged room on the first floor with olive green walls covered in dirty tapestries. The carpet exhaled little clouds of dust every time someone put their foot on it, and the long, moss-green velvet curtains were buzzing as though swarming with invisible bees. It was around these that Mrs. Weasley, Hermione, Fred, Ginny, George were grouped. I said that wrong, sorry. All looking rather peculiar as they had tied cloths over their noses and mouths. Each of them was also holding a large bottle of black liquid with a nozzle at the end.
You guys ready?
I'm so ready.
Tiffany. It's like Sheldon in the where he has like the spray.
I've never
Sheldon from Big Bang.
Theory.
I don't like Big Bang Theory. Sorry.
You don't like good things, apparently. Gosh.
I feel like that's an old person show.
I mean, I'll take it. I know I'm old. Heart,
Like-
spirit.
Like,
and
that's
the
a show
third
that like
thing.
only my parents' generation watches.
That is
That's not
false.
true. I'm not-
Get out.
Sorry.
We're over. You can start. It's fine.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So the direction was to cover your face and spray. They were using Doxycide, and Mrs. Weasley said she's never seen an infestation this bad. What that house elf's been doing for the last 10 years.
10.
Hermione didn't really appreciate that comment.
Big surprise.
Spew forever.
Spew will never
Katie.
die.
It's SPEW.
Excuse me, you are correct.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. She tries to make an excuse for Creature, saying like, he's kind of really old, but Sirius cuts her off And he says you'd be surprised what creature can manage when he wants to. He's also carrying a giant blood-stained bag of what appears to be a dead rats, which is weird at first. But then he's like, I was just feeding Buckbeak. So we get to find out what happened to Buckbeak. He's living at number 12.
Beaky.
And he's living up in Mrs. Black's old bedroom. Like, how great. She's probably rolling in her grave thinking about this hippogriff in her
Too
room.
bad. So
She's just
sad.
stewing in her portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And as Tiffany put in the notes, suck it, wench. Oh, goodness. So Sirius is pretty sure, if you remember, I think from last chapter, that they were talking about something bumping around in the writing desk. So he thinks it is a boggart. But just to be sure, they're going to ask Mad Eye to look at it with his mad eye to be 100% sure that it isn't something darker, because Sirius kind of warns Mrs. Weasley, like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on in this house. Yes.
But how would they see it if he's looking into a dark, like, space? If it's in the desk, like in the desk drawer, there's no light in there. And if it's already dark in there and then something's dark, how's he going to see it with no light? I don't know.
Magic.
The answer to all things.
So
But,
just,
how can he see a boggart?
he's the only one that knows that it looks like a little gray ditto.
I don't know what a ditto is.
Get out.
Seriously? The Squirtle on my socks is offended.
You know I can name 5 Pokemon. We've been through this. Now 6 with ditto.
I just think it's fun that you say Pokemon.
You know
Oh my
I say
God.
things wrong. What did
Pokemon.
I used to say
The guy at my work says
Borat.
Pokemon.
Is it Borat? How do you say it?
Borat.
Borat. If you want to talk about old people, it's not me.
I'm just saying Discord was kind of on my side.
Discord. I agree.
Whatever.
On what? Bogarts? What?
No, Big Bang Theory.
Oh my god.
What's a Bogart?
Oh, goodness. Just do a little
Oh.
recap of what a boggart is.
That's not how I said it.
What would a Bogart
What'd you say
see
today?
in
So they're shapeshifters that usually lurk in dark spaces that apparently Moody can see through even though there's no light. It has no definite form, taking the shape of that which is most feared by the person who encounters it. When not in the sight of a person, it is believed to look like a dark blob or a gray ditto.
Ditto.
It's actually from that
Is
website.
that a
so
fact?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a gray ditto, yes.
No, like that it's a dark blob. It's just a blob.
That's
Yeah.
what the wiki said.
Okay.
It's just believed to look. Nobody knows.
Do you believe in dark ditto blobs?
No. Maybe that should be the chapter title. You have to type it in. I typed in Docs Queens.
What did I
I like
use?
that too.
I like Docs Queens.
What do you want?
Docs Queen.
But it should be spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
All right, so the two of
Right,
them, Mrs. Weasley and Sirius, were talking very
Sirius.
politely, which
Yeah.
was unnatural for them. So, like, Harry could feel the tension from the conversation from last night. And then, saved by the bell.
I didn't know Zach Morris was here.
It's not the new class.
A loud clanging bell sounded from downstairs, followed at once by the whoa, that's a big word.
Cacophony.
Thank you, of screams and wails that had been triggered the previous night by Tonks knocking over the umbrella stand. I keep telling them not to ring the doorbell, said Sirius exasperatedly, hurrying back out of the room. They heard him thundering down the stairs as Mrs. Black's screeches echoed up through the house once more. Stains of dishonor, filthy half-breeds, blood traitors, children of filth.
I loved it.
Why doesn't he put that sign on the door being like, you know that moms do
Don't
now?
ring
They're
the
like, if you wake this kid
Yeah.
up, like, I will hunt you
Oh,
down.
I thought you said put a sign that says, you know how my mom is.
You know how my mom is? Don't ring this doorbell on pain of death.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. So Harry takes his time closing that door because he wants to see who was stopping by number 12. So the screaming stopped, so clearly Sirius got his mom under control. And he opened the door, and it's Kingsley Shacklebolt. And he came in saying, Hestia's just relieved me, so she's got Moody's cloak now. Thought I'd leave a report for Dumbledore. He can
Moody has a cloak.
he can
Do
feel...
you think he puts his hood up and is moody like Megan when she wears her hood?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's extra moody today.
You know, you've been very pleasant since it's been off.
Oh, here we go. It's like Horcrux.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go again.
Won't you wear
It's
a
up.
locket
I have it.
in my pocket?
There's a locket in my pocket.
So Harry can feel Mrs. Weasley's eyes burning into the back of his head, pretty much. So he regretfully shuts the door and rejoins the Doxy party.
Can you just see this though? I just
Yes.
imagine so picture this. It's a close up of Harry. He's clear and he's like slowly shutting the door. And in the background, it's blurred out, but you just see Molly like standing there, like waiting.
I love that.
What do you think a Doxy party would be like? Do you think it'd be like a rave?
Well, they all have like the masks on. Every bass beat's a spray.
Yes. And then the actual beat is the Doxy hitting the ground.
I'd party with Doxies.
Ain't no party like
Fred
a
and
Doxy
George
party.
want to.
Oh.
Doxy party don't stop. What? Usually we're like this on Friday.
I know.
I need to go to bed.
It's a
Confuse
good Monday.
my whole week.
This is a good Monday.
Mrs. Weasley is taking directions out of Gilderoy Lockhart's Guide to Household Pests.
But can we be real? The information there is good.
It
Because
is.
it's not his.
It's
Amen.
stolen. It's stolen from credible people.
Oh, and she doesn't want stolen goods in this house. Molly.
Molly.
Excuse me.
She tells them you have to be careful with Doxies because they do bite and their teeth are poisonous. No worries, she has the antidote just in case. And she tells them to spray them with a Doxycide, which will paralyze them, and then throw them in the bucket.
How
What's
long
the
do you think
antidote?
the Doxycide lasts?
Apparently a while.
Long enough for them to get 'em out.
Where do you take them?
Yeah, how do you get rid of them?
Yeah, you just like dump them outside.
Is it moist?
Open the door and throw them out?
I doubt it.
You're not in a Muggle neighborhood.
It's not your problem anymore.
What if Buckbeak eats them?
Oh, he might be able to.
Ooh.
That's a quick fix.
Yeah.
It's a good munch for the buck.
Okay.
My
Or,
thoughts
know,
were a little
just-
darker, but
I
along
was
those
gonna.
same lines.
I was just gonna say, start a fire, throw them in.
I too was gonna say that.
Katie and I are appalled.
Now it's a Doxy party. There's a bonfire going.
All night long.
Maybe okay. Imagine you know how they have those like things that you can put in bonfires that make them go different colors.
Yes.
What if you throw a Doxy in and it changes the color for a second? That'd be so cool.
Yeah, killing a creature's so cool.
They're pests.
Oh,
So are
boy.
bees, but they're very helpful.
I like to kill
Yeah.
centipedes in my
No,
free time.
wasps are pests. Bees are harmless.
Bees?
I mean, I've gotten stung by a bee, so I wouldn't call them harmless, and I wasn't doing anything.
I highly doubt that.
I literally laid in my bed.
Look
and-
at you over there.
I literally
Look at you.
laid down in
You
my
did
bed
something.
and got stung by a bee in my bed at my old house growing up.
I was stung by a wasp in my bed.
Wasps are not kind.
Correct.
They mean.
I was in high school and I cried a little bit. I won't lie.
Well, yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
And then I was mad at my dad because there was a hole in my wall, and that's how the bee got in. It was fixed shortly afterwards.
Sounds like an O'Malley thing.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's fine. Sarah got stung by a bee. She's fine. I'll fix it next week.
2
Now he
weeks
does
later.
not sound like that.
This is my dad.
Anyway, Fred almost gets caught stealing one of the Doxies that he sprayed. Mrs. Weasley's kind of like, "What are you doing? Throw it in the bucket." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then he just manages to pocket it. So the twins want to experiment with Doxy venom for their skiving snack boxes. It's the first time we're hearing about these. So they're a range of sweets to make you ill, but just ill enough to get you out of class when you feel like it. They're double-ended, color-coded chews. Example: if you eat the orange half of the puking pastel, you throw up. Once you've been rushed out of your lesson, you swallow the purple half, and you're restored, quote, enabling you to pursue the leisure activity of your choice during an hour that would otherwise have been devoted to unprofitable boredom.
Can I just let everyone know? High school Sarah would have loved this because Sarah didn't do
Yeah.
her homework a ton. So I would fake being sick to get out of that class.
To do your homework for
No,
that
I
class.
wouldn't. I would lay in the nurse's office and then I'd just miss the whole
Oh
lesson.
my god.
You're my worst nightmare.
I didn't do it a crazy ton, but I did do it enough that yeah. Or I just fake sick to the point I'd go
I
home.
did it. I did something really bad one time.
What did you do?
So I was just waiting for you guys to ask me.
Oh my god.
No, so there was this huge assignment that was weeks long, and we had to turn it in. And the class is like, it's going to be next period. And all of a sudden I noticed people getting their, like, I think it was like a map or something. It was some like workbook thing.
Was this in high school?
It
Or
was
grade
in
school?
seventh or eighth grade. I can't remember. So I see people getting this out, and all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks that I left this worksheet on the kitchen table. It was done. I had it finished, but I forgot to put it in my backpack.
Okay.
And the teacher that I had was not kind. Like,
Okay.
would not have given, you know,
A care in the world.
two
about
shakes
it.
and a lamb tail that I left it at
It's-
home. I used it
Nice
my
try,
own
but
way.
not correct.
It's like 2 shakes and here's a lamb tail.
So I immediately go up to her. I immediately go up to her and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I really need to go to the office. I need to go home. And she's like, okay. So I hurried and I called my mom. She didn't answer. I called my dad. He didn't answer. I called my mom again. She didn't answer. I called my dad again. He didn't answer. So then I called my great aunt.
Oh my lord.
Well, she's like, she like lived with my grandma, but she's the one that drove. So it's like, she was like my aunt.
Okay.
And she came to pick me up. I was like, I'm really sick. I need you to come pick me up. I really don't feel good. I'm going to throw up. And then I felt so bad because she picks me up and then we get back to the house and she'd made like a bed for me in the living room and like it was all ready for me. And I was like, Aunt Terry, I'm really sorry. I need to confess to you that I'm not sick. I just didn't have a homework assignment. And she felt so bad for me. She just like made me tea.
Oh my
It was the best.
gosh.
You know what I will say though? I think
Turned out
because when
nice.
I was in grade school that I didn't always put my all in it. A friend and I had a project due together and we worked our tails off on this project and it had to be like a diorama thing and we did it mistakenly, I guess, with Play-Doh. So like by the time it dried, it like cracked. And like the teacher was like, this isn't like basically like we didn't get a great grade on it, even though we worked our tail off. Because she like was like it was cracked and whatever else, and I'm like,
That's not fair.
So I'm like, oh well,
That's terrible.
I'll never work hard again.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, moral of the story, kids, do your homework. Make
Yeah.
sure you have it in your backpack. That was the
Yeah,
worst
don't-
feeling in the world because even after
Don't
I
do a
knew
Sarah.
that I was going home, I still had to go back into that classroom to get my book bag, and I was terrified she was going to ask me to turn it in before I left. So I ran to my locker as fast as I could and just zoomed out of there before she even had a chance to say a word to me.
Oh my gosh.
But guess what? I turned it in the next day and all was well.
God.
Kid problem.
You want to hear something I did in hair school? We had a big project due where we had to make our own salon and like do a whole business plan, and that was the only day I ever missed in hair school because I didn't do it.
Oh my god.
So that was the only class that I didn't get 100% in. That like because they do them in sections. Because I had to turn. I didn't turn it in late. I didn't turn in anything because it was just due that day, and like then the next time was the test, and it was it. But yeah,
Well, good for you.
You guys.
Story time with Megan and Sarah.
do your homework. Don't be like me.
I always did my homework.
So did I.
Tiffany's like, God, I hate kids like you.
I had another teacher once that was mad that I didn't have my homework, so she made me stay up at the board and do all of the problems like that we were doing. Like it was just me.
That's
It was math
fine.
class though, so it wasn't hard.
It's a different.
me.
If it was a different day back then, you know what I mean. People didn't
a
really
lot of teachers
think.
did not care for me. I wasn't
about
like a bad
doing
student
that.
or anything, but
Not nice.
didn't do my homework.
So Katie, tell me about this joke shop.
Sure, no problem. So these puking pastels, they still need work because their testers, aka Fred and George themselves, are having trouble stopping puking long enough to swallow the purple end. So they take testing in turns. George did the fainting fancies. They both tried the nosebleed nougat. Nougat?
Nougat.
And George says that Mrs. Weasley thought they'd been dueling. So Harry's like, does that mean that the joke shop is still on? And Fred says that they haven't got a chance to have like actual premises yet. But right now they're running it as a mail order service at the moment. So they put ads out in the Daily Prophet last week. And George says, all thanks to you, mate. And he assures Harry Mrs. Weasley doesn't have a clue about it at all. And she doesn't know that it's tied to Harry. And that she doesn't read the Prophet anymore because of how it's been telling lies about Harry and Dumbledore. So she's finally swept that under the rug.
Don't they know that they must not tell lies?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's not ingrained.
Ooh.
It's not inscribed yet.
No.
Ouch.
In my blood.
The de-doxying? took most of the morning, and it was past midday before Mrs. Weasley, or Weasley, sank into the armchair, only to spring back up because she accidentally sat on the bag of dead rats.
Oh,
Sorry about
so
your
gross.
snack, Beaky.
So she says after lunch they'll tackle the cabinets, which has a bunch of weird stuff in it. There's rusty daggers, there's claws, there's a coiled snake skin,
cool.
tarnished silver boxes, and an ornate crystal bottle with a large opal stopper, which Harry thinks is full of blood.
Ugh. Or red wine.
Or
What kind
red
of claws
wine.
do you think? I say dragon.
Sharp.
Okay, no, that's
Sharp
valid.
poisoned.
That's
Sharp
valid.
and poisoned.
Manticore.
Ooh.
You can't say that.
A former house elves.
Probably.
Claws and hands.
If they don't cut their fingernails, you don't know.
Could be claws.
I'm gonna go with that. So the doorbell rings. Mrs. Weasley tells him to stay there, and that she'll bring up sandwiches.
Kind of sandwiches.
We never know.
So speaking of snakeskins, did anybody see the post in the group?
Oh, that really long snake.
It was a black
black-
mamba.
Oh,
No, I didn't see it.
it doesn't scare me because it was a picture.
But she was right in front of a black mamba and she thought it was cool. I was like,
And
what's
she-
wrong with you?
She
Oh my
lived
God.
to tell another tale.
I mean, first of all, I thought that they were black.
Are they
Okay.
not?
It's like a blue-gray.
Huh.
Second of all, apparently the little ones, let me tell you, this thing was not little. The little ones are blue-gray. Get out of here.
It was pretty long.
It was,
It was pretty
huge.
Well, how long was
It was huge.
How many
long?
DeVitos?
Huge.
How many DeVitos are we
Probably 2 DeVitos, okay?
It was probably like one DeVito.
It was
I would
probably 1 DeVito,
having? You
but
are
still.
out of control right now.
No. No. No.
All right.
Hey, Mamba. Mamba, black one. Hey. I need to go home.
Black. She saw a black mamba.
Tell
It's
me
the
again, what did she see?
Deadliest snake in
Where
the
at?
world.
Like in the wild?
South Africa.
I don't know. Have you ever met some Slytherins? They're pretty deadly.
What is this?
She saw the deadliest snake in the world and she was like, it was cute.
They are kind of cute.
I mean, snakes can be
Ma'am.
pretty cute.
I made Alana a little snake out of Play-Doh and she was very happy and she was going.
So, yes, I did also read that. Apparently, I thought the black mambas were black, but it's actually their mouth that's black.
you better get on your game just in case one ever like crawls out of the sewer in downtown Clee and says, Megan.
She doesn't speak parcel tongue, so she can't hear it.
Oh, I do.
Hashasa, please.
Yeah, you don't know.
Throwback.
Molly is finally out of the room.
Oh, okay.
And they all run
Black
to the window to see who's at the
mamba.
doorstep because you know it rang. Were you done?
I'm just saying black
No,
mamba.
I'm asking
She
Katie.
was done.
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
I'm sorry. And
floor
then I
is
was like,
yours.
I'm like, I don't remember her saying something about the doorbell ringing. I'm like, I think I interrupted her.
She actually rang a bell,
I did.
actually.
So Molly's out of the room. And of course, as any curious child / I totally would do this, ran to the window to see who was on the doorstep. And it's our good favorite person, Mundungus. Woo, woo, woo. He's got a bunch of cauldrons. Cauldrons. Psst, they're stolen. And then Harry mentions that's what Mundungus was doing when he left Harry the other day. He was probably looking for somewhere to hide them because, you know, they're stolen. They're hot cauldrons.
What's that song that Celestina Warbeck sings about?
Oh, a cauldron full of hot, strong love.
Cauldron full of hot, strong love, yeah.
Right in time for Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
So Fred and George then go to listen at the door because, you know, again, I would do that as well. So they hear Mundungus is talking to Sirius and Kingsley, and they are thinking about getting their extendable ears so they can, like, basically risk it and listen in. But then Molly's yelling about the fact, yelling at Mundungus, basically. And I'm sure Sirius is like, yeah, I don't care what you store here. But Molly was like, no, like, this might be your house, but, like, I'm in charge because, like, don't tempt me. You know? Think about how she kills Bellatrix. Don't tempt me, right? So she's yelling about how they are not running a hideout for Mundungus' stolen goods. And so Fred's basically very happy to hear that someone else is getting yelled at by Molly and not himself. And I feel that on a personal level. I don't love it when my siblings are in trouble, but I liked it
It's
more so than
satisfying.
me getting in trouble. You know what I mean? And then George comments how, you know, they're really letting her get into her stride. They really should kind of like, because she continued to yell at Mundungus, how they should try and stop her. Otherwise, she could go on for hours. And basically, she's got a lot of pent-up aggression and aggravation towards Mundungus after what he did to Harry, and she's ready to go off on him. And then, of course, the yelling has woken up Sirius's
Are you
mom.
Stewie Griffin? Oh, you're right a little now there. Your voice keeps getting higher. We're talking about Harry Potter. You what are talking about some cauldrons.
So the yelling has woken up Sirius's mom again. And so they really aren't able to hear anything else besides, the garbage that she's spewing. And then they'd open the door crack to listen better. And so before they can close the door to listen in on the yelling and hopefully kind of hear, I don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, they're trying to close the door. Little house elf sneaks in. Who's he? Who could he be? And then he sneaks in. All right, so I'm going to read from the book.
That better be an outtake.
I'm dumb.
My face hurts. It's too much laughing.
Except for the filthy rag tied like a loincloth around its middle, it was completely naked. It looked very old. Its skin seemed to be several times too big for it, and though it was bald, like all house elves, there was a quantity of white hair growing out of its large bat-like ears.
I mean, it's kind of cute.
Its eyes were bloodshot and watery gray.
Not bad.
And its fleshy nose was large and rather snout-like.
Cute. It reminds me of a hairless cat.
Okay, but they're really cute.
No, those are cute.
What
said it
is
was
that?
cute?
That freaky thing. It's Creature the House Elf.
What?
You never heard that? What is that? That freaky thing. It's a naked mole rat. It's Rankin Impossible.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Rufus.
I had such a crush on. Is it Ron? Isn't that his name?
Ron.
Isn't it a
Unstoppable.
cartoon?
You know.
All right.
Unstoppable.
Have you
But
never
did you
seen a
know-
good-looking cartoon?
Did you know that Ron Stoppable is actually
Archer.
Corey's brother from Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Eric.
Will Friedel, whatever his
Yeah,
name
yeah,
is. Yeah.
Eric Matthews.
Underpants.
Feeny. Feeny. So the house
Katie's never
elf.
seen that show.
We just watched it last night. I watched my first episodes of Boy Meets World.
The house elf didn't take any notice to the others in the room, so it seemed, and he shuffled around the room muttering under his breath, and I'm going to read it to you. Unlike before. Smells like a drain and a criminal to boot, but she's no better, nasty old blood traitor with her brats messing up my mistress's house. Oh, my poor mistress, if she knew the scum they've let into her house, what would she say to old Creature? Oh, the shame of it. Mudbloods and werewolves and traitors and thieves, poor old Creature. What can he do?
You make me think of Winnie from Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah. I just like that I couldn't see your face. All I saw was the book.
So Fred's like, hey, Creature, what up, boo? Just kidding. He's just like, hi, Creature. So now we know his name. Although, did we hear it before in this chapter? Because I don't remember. It's kind of that day. And he seems, being Creature, seems a little surprised that they're there, allegedly. And says so while he's also calling him being Fred, a nasty little brat of a blood traitor. And then George was like, what'd you say? And he responds with nothing and then calls George its twin. Unnatural little beasts they are.
Unnatural.
Maybe it's because they're redheads. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to like a lot of people, So Harry doesn't really know what to do with this turn of events. Is he supposed to laugh? Is he not supposed to laugh? So Creature turns around and then he gets to Hermione, who he also says not nice things about. Basically, he calls her Mudblood, as we all know. And then Creature then mentions to himself that there's a new boy, but he doesn't know who he is. So Hermione, being Hermione, tells him it's Harry Potter. But Creature's not pleased that Hermione is talking to him like they're friends. What would his mistress say about that?
She would not like it.
Nope. No green eggs and ham for that little guy. I don't like green eggs and ham. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Ron and Ginny tell him not to call Hermione Mudblood, which I appreciate both of them being like, bro, don't call her a Mudblood. Except you said it without the bro.
It's super bro.
But Hermione dismisses it because Creature isn't in his right mind. Fred disagrees. Creature knows exactly what he is saying. Creature then is like, whoa, that's Harry Potter. He's got that scar and everything. He's the one that stopped the Dark Lord. But how'd he do it?
Or he's like, Creature's in there. Whoa, that's Harry Potter.
It almost sounds like one of those 90 infomercials for like a kid's toy on Nickelodeon.
Whoa, man, it's Harry Potter.
Blammo.
I think it's funny that Fred responds and is like, yeah, we're all wondering that.
Yeah, I love that. So what does Creature even want? And, he's cleaning. But Sirius comes in right at that moment and says, that's a likely story. Creature sees Sirius, throws himself into a low bow, and Sirius tells him to stand up straight and tell him what he's doing exactly. He's cleaning. He lives to serve the noble house of Black. Although, Sirius says, it's getting blacker by the day. It's filthy.
Missed a couple, sir.
So Creature continues talking under his breath, saying that Sirius is an ungrateful swine who broke his mother's heart. But Sirius claims that she didn't have a heart. She just lived on pure spite. And then another quote from the book. What Master says, Master is not fit to wipe slime from his mother's boots. Oh, my poor mistress. What would she say if she saw Creature serving him? How she hated him. What a disappointment he was. And then Sirius tells him that he knows that Creature claims that he's cleaning, but really he's sneaking things into his room so they can't throw it out while they're actually cleaning. And then Creature's like, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't move anything that wasn't supposed to be moved. His mistress would not be pleased if the tapestry was thrown away. It contains 7 centuries of family on that thing, and Creature won't let anyone destroy it. Sirius, and that's like the family tree, basically, is what he's talking about. Sirius figured that's what he was going to say, and he's also sure that his mom put a permanent sticking charm on it, just like she did on her portrait, and she would do the same to the tapestry. But if she didn't, if on the off chance, Sirius is going to get rid of it, toot sweet. He also tells him to go away, and then Creature does, but he's still muttering while he leaves, and this is what he says. And I quote, "Comes back from Azkaban, ordering Creature around. Oh, my poor mistress. What would she say if she saw the house now? Scum living in it. Her treasures thrown out. She swore he was no son of hers, and he's back. They say he's a murderer, too." And then Sirius responds going, "Keep muttering, and I will be a murderer," said Sirius irritably. Then he slams the door, and then I was thinking, I wonder, I get that him and his mother don't have the greatest relationship, but also, hearing this, I wonder how, if it still stings, you know what I mean? Is as much as they have not been in each other's lives for years and years and years.
For sure.
Still
Anger is always a secondary emotion.
Yep. I just feel bad for him,
I mean, it all stinks. And the way that he's treating him now, that one time where he tells Creature to get out, that's what does Sirius in. He tells Creature to get out, and Creature takes it literally and gets out. And where does he go? Bellatrix.
Sad. Super sad.
I mean, this is just more of a constant reminder of Sirius being where he doesn't want to be.
And not following his own quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Treating your...
Yeah.
Correct.
What is it? Inferiors or whatever?
Correct.
Yep.
So then Hermione's back on her spew bandwagon, and she's like, again, he's not in his right mind and probably doesn't know that we can hear what he's muttering. But he's been alone for too long in that house with the portrait giving him orders, most likely, and he's talking to himself. And then Sirius is like, but basically he's never been good in his eyes. He's always the worst, in Sirius's eyes. They never really got along. And then she's like, well, maybe you can set him free. But that would be bad. Sirius is like, on more than one level. One, he knows too much about the order. And he also probably wouldn't be able to handle being freed. That'd be a very big shock to his system. And he says it would probably kill him. He's like, go tell him. See how he would react if you told him, you're free. He probably would freak out.
Yeah. Well, every time I think about Creature in this moment, it makes me think of Seven. Because we see Creature here, and he does seem like he's out of his mind a bit. And rightfully so. When you're alone for that long with only someone's copy of them in the form of a portrait, you're not going to be okay. You're going to, I talk to myself all the time, but you're going to talk to yourself. You're going to talk to the portrait. You're going to keep doing things that you probably wouldn't do if others were around. You know what I mean? The stuff you do by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's seeing him do all of these things that he's done for years and years and years. And it's kind of like being put, like if you were put on an island and that's how he's behaving. But when we see him in 7, he's more with it. He's been around people. And especially when he comes back for the battle. Yes, ma'am.
Think about Castaway and
yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh, Wilson.
Yeah. Don't you laugh at Tom. But honestly,
bridesmaids.
like that's how he is.
Yeah, no,
And
I
that's
think
what he's-
isolation like that is not good.
But we do see him come back.
I
Like,
think
he
that's
comes back.
I think that's a good nod towards mental health. Like you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
have support and people like nourishing positivity into your life.
Yeah.
For sure.
And look at what he did for the trio when they were treating him kindly. He like was starting to tolerate like Hermione in a respectful
Making
way,
them food.
and he was wearing his fresh towel and his ear hair was clean, and he was like making the food for them, and he was excited for them to come back after their trip to the ministry when they were trying to get the locket. And it's like we don't know what happened between what's his name, Death Eater Yaxley getting through number 12 to Creature showing up for the battle. But I have to assume if Creature's showing up for the battle on the good side, he must have been okay.
Yeah.
Been okay. Go like did he go somewhere? Did he lie to the Death Eaters about things and like pretend that he was still like
I bet
on
he
the
did.
dark side? You know
Kindness
what I
goes
mean?
a long way.
But it really does. You know what I mean?
Showed,
Like,
it does. It shows you exactly what it can do.
yeah. Like, and not even just being like overly like doing crazy things, just saying nice words or like doing small acts of kindness. You know what I mean? Like, goes a long way.
I smiled at a student today when they looked like they were feeling bad. Like, you know how you just make eye contact with someone and they looked like they were feeling down, and I smiled at them and their whole body language changed and their face lit up, and I was like, all right, we're going to get somewhere today. It really makes all the difference.
It doesn't take a lot of effort on your part.
Yeah. Curl your lips up. It takes more effort to frown. So,
Unless you have a resting eesh face.
which I do,
I do.
but still.
I liked that someone, let me find out in the chat who said it, pointed out that it might have been Vinny. Vinny says it because they're talking about like Molly and Sirius and all that stuff. And he's like, it's also interesting that Molly kills the person that kills Sirius.
Say that again?
Molly Weasley
Yeah.
kills the person
Yeah.
that killed Sirius.
Yeah. So what is that, like a forgiveness thing?
I think that she liked him more than...
Of course she
let
did.
on.
Of course she did. Yeah. I mean, we have to think about the time that they're living in. Everybody's on edge. Everybody's not going to be completely 100% kind to one another. It's just when you're stressed out, me being one of those people, and I'm trying to work on it. When I'm stressed out, anything can make you like go off. You're more irritable. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, too, because they were talking about, like, they're both very fierce protectors of Harry, but in their own ways, you know?
Yeah.
I think that that's something that Harry, because he didn't grow up with people on his side after his parents were died. His parents were killed. That he doesn't realize he's got like a massive amount of people that like truly love him and would die for him.
Yeah.
Totally off topic. Yay!
Mara has a good point in the chat. She says, I don't want to say that Sirius's treatment of Creature in any way, shape, or form is okay. But I've always believed that Sirius has PTSD, and I suspect that being in the Black House again is going to be a huge trigger, both consciously and unconsciously. And Creature is likely to be a trigger too.
Of course,
Well,
it
especially
is.
with the things that he's saying.
and how he
Well-
took care of Sirius's mother.
And even mentioning like your mom, like you were such a disappointment to her, and like
Right.
as much as like we don't know what's going through Sirius's head with all of these things, and back in the day when, you know, like he probably would be crying on James's shoulder being like, my mom said all of these horrible things to me, and you know what I mean, like that's a horribly rough thing to go through, and then having it all brought up again with the Creature telling him the things that like his mother said about him or says or, you know, thinks, and
And he didn't want that for himself.
no.
I like what Vinny adds too. Like at the end of the day, the only people to blame for Sirius's death is Bellatrix and Voldemort. Like,
Correct.
That's true.
like they could have figured the connection out even without. Like they could have done that without Creature's help. You know. So I mean, sure, he made it easier, but it probably still would have happened.
Lightning bolts.
No.
Yeah.
Too bad. Here
Let's call
comes
them
from
something thunderbolts
No.
of lightning.
No.
Very, very frightening.
Vinny says, "How many house cups do you think Slytherin won during Phineas's tenure?" I can totally imagine every year Phineas doing something similar to what Dumbledore did in Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, and you would
Facts.
probably smile at the rest of the houses and be like,
When I first read that, I was like, how
last
many
minute
cups?
Points.
How many Slytherin cups? And I was like, trying to like,
How many
thought it, I
students are
thought it,
there?
no, I thought it was like a math equation for a second. And I was like, I don't know. That's a lot of cups.
I can't remember who said it, but I think maybe Ethan was talking about how he actually really appreciates Phineas as a Slytherin, and he could even be considered like a positive to Slytherin House because of all the help that he does end up doing for Harry in Deathly Hallows. And I'm like, I do kind of like that. He is definitely a Slytherin that does some good and shines a little bit of light on Slytherin House.
Yeah. I just wish
Well, let's
he
turn
would
it out,
be
all
a
right?
little nicer
Knox.
about it. Like everybody's so me, 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 me.
But
Tiffany, you can only ask so much from Slytherins.
think about
okay?
like you.
All right.
Take
the
what
way
you
that
can get.
you
All
would
right.
do it is different the way that everyone else would do it. You know what I mean? Like everyone comes to the table with their own thing.
Right, Gryffindor.
They're helping in their own way.
I'm just saying.
We can't all be the same. Life would be boring.
I'm just saying.
We can't all be Gryffindors. God, you guys are
Life
so
would be boring, and I'd have nothing to complain about having wrong colors. Someone asked it, they're like, what would you do if you were like another house? And I was like, I'd be probably real broke because I'd be buying all the correct color merchandise.
Yup. Ensign Tilly, Hufflepuff Sarah, asked, "How many house cups?" Oh wait, what the heck did I just do? Did I copy paste that on accident? Okay, here we go. Does a boggart take on the form of what Moody would see when he's standing in front of it when he looks to the floor? If not, what does it look like to him? That's true. Like, because he's seeing it, does he see it as his fear?
Say it again.
No, I think that the Boggart has to see you in order
Correct.
for it to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that it is still just a ditto.
All right. Ditto. I ditto that.
Whatever that is, sure.
Vinny says, "What would a boggart see in the mirror?" Vera said.
A body, aka
was
me,
gonna
because they
say
want to be
body.
me.
Um,
A solid form is what I think it would see.
It would see itself being hugged. That's all it wants, guys.
Do you think... Oh,
And some chicken wings.
that's cute.
I don't
I
know.
like
it would
that.
see another ditto hugging it. Two dittos.
It would
Two
see,
dittos with a little baby ditto.
It would see
Little
itself
die.
as just itself so that it never had to adapt to other people.
Yeah.
could
What
just
if it
be
never
itself.
sees itself and it just sees its own reflection?
Can you think about the fact that you have never seen your
I'm
own
not
face?
Oh
talking
my gosh,
about
we
this
can't
with
have
you.
I
this
talked about. I said this
conversation.
because they were talking about never being done with laundry the other day at work. I'm like, funny. I'm like, I was just having this conversation. I'm like, also, I'm like, you've never seen your own face. And the nurse was like, what about when you look in the mirror? I'm like, you're looking at a reflection of yourself. Like, you've never seen your own face. She's like, too deep of a conversation, Sarah, because it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like, sorry. These are things I think.
Lisa Rawls, what creature would throw the best rave? Doxies, Cornish pixies, house elves, goblins,
Pixies.
or any that you can think
Pixies.
Yeah, for sure, pixies.
of? Pixies for sure. Do you
Think
see
of a
them
pixie
jamming
party.
on that dragon?
Yeah,
Damn
think
it.
about them in the
Banging
the
on a trash can.
Deathly Hollows.
Drumming
The
on a
defense
street
against the
light.
dark arts class.
Yeah, I think a pixie party would be perfect.
Hanging Neville from the ceiling.
Why is it
Poor
always
dude.
me?
Why is it always me?
Ethan asks, if you were a degenerate such as Dung, what would you choose to do in the wizarding world to make your ill-gotten gains?
Ill-gotten gains.
I would sell fingers in Nocturne
I
Alley.
was almost gonna be like rotten, moldy fingernails. My specialty. Painted ones.
I would want to deal in like magical creatures.
Dragon dung.
I would breed Appaloosa Puffskins.
I have things, but I don't want to say them, so I won't.
Oh, okay.
but I probably would want to be in charge of something, so I'd be running the show.
You'd be like head of the mob.
Yeah.
You do my bidding, and you do my bidding. Give me all the money.
I think I'd be good at that.
Okay, did we pronounce her name Kayla or Kayla?
Kayla.
Kayla. Kayla says, if you had to have a Richard Gilmore-sized portrait of somebody in your house, who would it be? Personal or Potter?
Taylor Swift.
My cat. Both of them. Gigantic.
Miss Woos.
Does it have to be a person?
No.
No.
I would probably have
Creature.
no, I would either have like
You'd have BB-8.
no, I'd have a landscape. I'd either have like my grandma's house, like a big picture of that, or like a picture from like one of the beaches in Ireland I've been to. Something nice and calming, especially if it's moving. A nice beach picture would be nice.
I like that. Lisa Rouse asks, I'm super interested in Molly and Sirius's relationship. Why is she so hard on him? It's not like they have a past. Could one of her brothers have been like him, reckless, impulsive, prone to danger, and she's trying to save Sirius because she couldn't save her brothers? Or is it just good old dislike?
Somebody brought up in the chat earlier
I don't think she dislikes him.
about how she had read for years and years and years and years that he was a murderer. And we know that Molly really likes her Daily Prophet before, everything
This hubbubaloo.
comes out in the open. So they thought that maybe she still kind of associates, I can't remember who it was. Whoever in the Discord chat said this, please speak up or type up. That maybe she still like associates him with that and maybe being like crooked, like a criminal in a way. Kim Valle said that.
I kind of think that part of it is she's very fiercely protective of her children, and Harry for her is one of her kids.
They don't
I was
want
gonna say
them
it
to
1,000
see anything
It
that's not
1,000% has to do with
rule-abiding.
Harry, with Sirius being Harry's godfather, and Sirius feeling like he has some sort of control over Harry when Molly feels like she has all the control over him.
I don't think she dislikes him. I think she's just
Butting heads.
butting heads. They're
yeah.
both didn't we discuss that they're both Scorpios?
Yep.
And I think they're just butting heads, and they both at the end of the day want what's best for Harry. They just think it's different, and I think that Molly might be a little jealous of Harry, like wanting
Loving
that
Sirius
relationship
so much immediately.
And I don't think Harry realizes like how much, like I think he knows that like obviously Ron's parents, like Molly cares about him, but like I don't know if he believes that she, like, that's her son, you know what I mean? Like I don't think he believes that yet. But like he knows that like Sirius has always been in his life even before he knew. So I think that's just hard for Molly.
As Ensign Tilly says, I gave that kid a Weasley sweater. He's now a Weasley.
That's right.
Mara asks, what product do you want from the twins?
Ooh,
A pygmy
nosebleed.
puff.
Yeah, I want a pygmy puff.
Sure, I'll take one of those too. But I'll get the nosebleed nugget so I can get out of things. Or the vomiting one, because you know what? I could use it at work.
The vomiting one, so that I could go home from work.
Yeah.
Faux show.
I would use it at a very specific time so I don't get points for leaving. But for sure. And I would do it like we're not super visible, but like maybe in the nurse's station. And then they're like, she's going home. Bye.
Mara also asks, if Harry had given you 1,000 galleons to help you start a joke shop, what product would you love to create?
What would I create? Something real funny. Maybe a notebook that would tell you knock-knock jokes. Or a piece
That's
of wood that would tell
awesome.
you knock-knock jokes.
I
Get
like
it?
knock-knock
You'd have to
jokes.
knock on it, and then it would tell you the joke. If it was a piece of wood.
Yeah. I like that.
like
What
that.
would I make? Does it have to be a joke?
No. But something like fun, you know? Like a deck of cards that like is always changing. That could be cool and frustrating at the same time.
I would create a temperature controlled outfit so that I'm never hot and I'm never cold.
That's cool.
I
Thanks.
love that.
No, I'm being serious. Like, I know I sounded like a snot, but that I meant that was cool. I'm like, I said it that way because I can't think of anything, and you guys are like rolling these right off of your tongue, and I'm like, ooh, going off of you, a cup that is always my perfect temperature for beverages.
That's good.
Because I don't have anything.
See, that's why I was like, that's cool.
Ooh. How about a cup that like it'll look like Katie's favorite thing when she sees it, but it's actually like something real gross.
Oh,
And it would look like your, because it's a joke shop. You got to do funny things.
It's true.
Trickery.
Jeez.
That's funny.
I feel personally attacked.
I'm not Regina Georgia, right?
Paisha says, this is personal, but was there a time when someone treated you poorly but owned up to it and apologized?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I
Yeah.
can't think of anything specifically right now, but I'm sure.
I had a friend
Recently,
who
that
was
text.
mad at me. No, not mad at me. My friend and I got in a fight when we were
From work.
kids, and she hit me, and I'm like, so like whatever. She hit me, and I like laughed and went back to my house because she lived like 4 doors down. And her dad yelled at me, and then he had to come in to apologize because he's like, I didn't know because I didn't say anything to him when he yelled at me. He came to apologize. He's like, I didn't know she hit you, and I was like, yeah, she did. He's like, I'm really sorry. Yada yada. I was like, yeah, you should be. Like, bye.
Did you really say, yeah, you should be?
No, but I did say when he was like, she didn't tell me, or like I didn't know she hit you, and I was like, yeah, she did. And then he like apologized, and I was like, thanks.
I thought
And, like,
of
moved on.
a product. Be something like a potion you drink to talk to animals.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice.
That's really cool.
I would do that all the time with
Dude.
Iggy.
Me
What
and
if
Ted
it
would
was
have
like a
some combos.
potion that would do crazy things to your hair, like make it move?
Ooh, like Medusa.
Or what if it was like a potion that you would drink that would make your hair do like, you know, if you're like really excited, it's all gonna shoot up, or if you're really sad, it's just gonna be like, wah, 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 like be sad, like little teardrops or something crazy. I don't know.
I want
this
weeping
sweater
willow
better?
hair.
Or
I
like
made
if
it
you're
from my
in love,
tears.
like say you're like on a date with a person, and you're like, God, I'm really vibing, and then your hair just is like, whoop, there's a heart, and then they know
I'm vibing.
you're vibing. I mean, I should just open a joke shop.
I mean, well, yeah, you need some magical things, though.
I have magical things. My whole life's magical.
You're
Don't
not
you know me?
wrong. You're not wrong.
Or we have 2 more and then fan story.
Get it.
Lisa Rawls says, Voldy versus Winifred Sanders. Who would win? She thinks, I feel Voldy would go into his big monologue and Winnie would just zap him with her lightning powers.
For sure.
I was totally gonna give it to Winnie.
Yeah, agreed.
She'd probably get real
They
annoyed,
both
you know?
waste time, though.
That's true. But I think Winnie would have the
I think
edge.
Voldemort would start it, and she'd be like, you just need to not. Zippity zap.
Can
They
you just not?
don't
Maybe
talk
she would
back.
just turn Voldemort into a cat.
No, they would literally talk each other to death.
Maybe they'd fall in love, and she's the new Bellatrix.
Whoa.
Bend
Blew
thy
my
bones and
mind.
break thy back.
Kayla, last one. Would you rather spend a day with Umbridge in her creepy office or with Creature at number 12?
Creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to clean that house and see what's going
How
on.
satisfactory would that be, though?
Yes.
After it was
I
all
think
done?
that there would be
Yes.
less blood involved if you were with Creature.
I need the carpet to not poof dust.
Yeah,
proof.
get a
you treat
vacuum
him-
in there.
And if you treat him nice, we know what happens.
Yeah, what's the spell for that?
Vacuumus.
Vacuumus.
Vacuumo succo.
Vacuumo sucko.
Sucko-uppo.
Sucko-uppo.
That also sounds like something from like the 90s, like Rocco's Modern Life. The Sucko-matic.
Yes.
I did finish watching that movie.
Hmm?
The Rocco's Modern Life had a movie come out this past year.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I told you about it.
Are you even a fan?
That's great.
Okay.
Are you even a fan?
I have them all on DVD.
You're
As
not
a matter
fan.
of fact, she's not a fan. She is a human being.
Do you want to hear about a fan story?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Hannah.
If it's not a Gryffindor, delete
Did
it
you
though.
know Hannah's name, forwards and backwards, is Hannah.
Truth.
That is a
just-
palindrome.
From Jerez to Hannah. Let's hear your story.
So this comes from Hannah Bosian. I hope I said that right. My name is Hannah, and I'm a high schooler in Washington, D.C. My mom and I read the Harry Potter books when I was in 2nd grade, and I instantly fell in love with the magical world. I have reread the books way too many times, and my younger sister and I are completely hooked. My favorite book is The Order of the Phoenix, and my favorite quote is, "But I am the chosen one." I'm a proud Hufflepuff. Woo, woo, woo! And my
Alright.
Patronus is a shrew, which is gross. And my favorite character is Sirius. When I first read the Harry Potter series, I loved it, but I never truly appreciated the complexity and creative storyline. Every single detail fits so perfectly together without being far-fetched. I read a little bit of the series every night before I went to sleep. Oh, wait. Yeah, before I went to sleep. And this is so, curse word, embarrassing, but I used to create myself as a character in the book. That is not embarrassing.
That's not embarrassing.
I was a daughter of one of the weird sisters who was friends with the Weasley twins. That's awesome. You need to write a fan fiction.
For real.
I love listening to your podcast because you remind me of my friends and I. In my spare time, I watch a lot of comedy dance, and I just got certified to teach dance to kids with disabilities.
That's awesome.
Growing up in DC has made me a political junkie and a regular junkie. There's an SNL reference. I'm sorry if you don't get it. And I always wonder how politics and religion is implemented in the wizarding world. I love listening to your podcast when I do my homework, as it is a fun way to get stuff done. Also, this is random, but you guys were recently talking about 23andMe, and I got one. I got one done, and it said I am 99.3%.
You can know how to
Ashkenazi
say.
Jews.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ashken.
thank you.
Wait, what? I said it wrong.
Ashkenazi.
Thank you.
There you go.
Jewish, with the rest being Middle Eastern. That's super cool.
Cool.
Thank you guys for making my week when I found your podcast. I've learned to not be ashamed about being myself and to love myself, from my big Jewish nose to my love for the wizarding world to my passion for helping those who are less fortunate than myself. I'm sorry this is too long. Don't ever apologize. Thanks again, Hannah. P.S. I love your Midwestern accents.
Me and my bagel don't have an accent.
Your bagel. I want to go to Toledo.
Toledo.
Hannah, thank you
And
so
Tony
much.
Pacos.
Tony Pacos. Yes.
Thank you so much for your story.
I
And it
love
wasn't
it.
too long, and you're amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
I
I
love
think
it.
that I'm like 0.1% Jewish.
Some of my family
Oh,
is.
my
I'm not.
goodness.
Marty is. I
Mine
think my dad
always
might be.
changes.
My percentage of English has gone up.
Oh, we're getting more English by the day.
I know.
Cheers.
I think that I'm officially more English than Polish.
Whoa.
I'll take it.
Also, a shrew totally isn't gross. Have you seen a sand shrew? Those things are freaking cute.
I don't know what
I
any of these things are.
am
Sand
more into
shrew.
sand
When I hear a
slash,
shrew, I think of an
but-
old
Sand
like
slash is
woman.
pretty cool. But sand shrews like adorbs.
I mean, I have a vole, so
I don't know what my password is.
Those are cool.
That's why
I
you
got a
just
new
do
phone.
Face ID.
Hey, Maggie.
Oh. So you can follow us on Facebook at Swish and Flick Podcast, and also join our group, which is amazing, Swish and Flick Podcast group. We also have a support group, which is really cool, called Swisher Support.
It's really cold.
It's really cool.
Put a blanket on. Chilly in there.
Yep. Sometimes, depending on the topic. I don't know.
Your mouth.
What did I do?
I gave you the look and you went.
You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Where?
At
Twitter.
Swish-
We're on Twitter.
at Swish Flickcast. And you can support us on Patreon if you would be so inclined at patreon.com/Swish Flickcast. That is where you can gain access to our lovely Discord channel and our lovely Hangouts every month and our lovely Phoenix Plus boxes that are almost finished. And I'm so excited.
Felix
And
Files.
the Felix File.
I don't care to edit that because I don't like listening to that.
So thank you so much to all of our current patrons. You're the best, and we get
Yeah.
to do what we get to do thanks to you.
That was cool.
That was cute.
Is this coming out in February?
It's yeah.
February.
It's coming out
is
next
this-
weekend.
Because you can announce who you're gonna donate our.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Let me find it. So I am up first for choosing our next donation. Let me find it.
So every month,
Yep.
we are going to give $1 per patron to a charity of. The first 4 months will be us. We're each going to choose.
Well, technically, we gave money in what month is today?
January to
January.
Wildlife Warriors.
Yeah, and then the next 4 months are going to be
Right.
us picking it, and then we'll let you guys. We'll give like a handful, and we'll
We'll
let
do
you
like a
guys pick.
poll.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where you guys want money to go to.
What month is today? That's what you said.
What did Tony say? Then one day it's like I was this years old when I found that out. I'm like, you mean you were today? You're like,
Oh, yeah. I don't know what these kids say.
So where's it going?
So
Tell me.
I wanted to do something that was local to Cleveland and Cleveland's kids because obviously that's something that I'm really passionate about. And I asked my principal, and she said the organization is called Esperanza. So apparently they are a great partner with a large school district in Cleveland and the community at large. So that's where our next donation is heading.
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Good pick.
Yep. So it's definitely on behalf of us, but it's also on behalf of our patrons. We would never in a million years be able to give like this if this podcast wasn't here and if we didn't have everyone's support. So
For sure.
definitely know that your money is being used toward
Good things.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Are we talking about ourselves now?
Yeah.
Always.
Well,
I'm just so amazing. I'm Tiffany. Married to Marty. He's
my
like
name's
great.
Tiffany, and I'm a really cool Gryffindor, and I like to roar a lot. No. I don't know. What am I doing? We're going to go skiing soon.
Well,
Or have we already gone skiing? I'm not
No.
going skiing.
that's
I'm
what
going.
talking about.
I'm
You guys
going.
will be skiing.
I'm
when this
going for
comes out.
the grapes that have been turned into
Fermented.
juice. And fermented.
Adult juice.
You guys will be there now.
I'll
when
be
this
hot,
is out.
hot tubbing and drinking wine.
Yeah. So it's going to be a nice little way to relax. I decided that I need to start reading physical books. So I picked up my Star Wars book that is, I believe it's 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to read that novelization so I can get some deets that aren't in the movies. And I don't know why I'm talking so slow, but I don't know. I'm just trying to get my dishes done every day. You know what I'm saying?
Honest to God, I
my
hear
God.
you.
I'm just trying to-
I'm just trying to not have an excess amount of things. Sarah and I went through my clothes, and I am giving 3 garbage bags full to somebody I work with.
I'm proud of you. That's hard.
It is hard.
I know.
I
It
mean,
should not be.
I literally could comb through and probably give more away.
I
as
literally
well.
was telling her, I'm like, I've never seen you wear it. Get rid of it. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
You need someone like that in that moment. You know.
Oh my
That's
God,
why I
it's gotta
asked her.
happen.
That's why I asked her to
Katie's
be
the
up there.
worst with
I'm
it.
really
I'm like,
bad.
Katie, get rid of this.
Because like you think you're gonna wear it, you're like, oh, what if I need it for blah blah blah? But no,
You're not.
I can be like, if I'm in the mood, I can almost be disastrously good at it to the point where like I had a baby shower at my house, and I didn't want to wear like a dress because I knew my feet were gonna be cold because I didn't want to wear socks with the dress, like it would have looked dumb. So I put pants on. I had no nice shirts. I'm like, I have nothing that can go with this because I got rid of them all.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. I can't wear anything.
Yeah. But I got rid of stuff that like wasn't my style anymore.
Yeah.
But
I've
like it
done a
still
lot of
fit
that.
me and I liked it. But your style changes as you get older. And I told Sarah I'm gonna try and not buy things with like words on them.
Katie and I actually just splurged and bought like a set of neutral colored shirts, just plain. So
my
that
God,
we
am I
have
old
like
now?
a set of neutral plain shirts.
Yeah. Because like I don't need something that says Dog Mom
As
on
you
it
bought
anymore.
A Harry Potter sweatshirt.
That's different.
This is different.
Well, that's my biggest thing is like I have so much Swish and Flick stuff that like I'm not a jeans and t-shirts wearer. Like that's just not me. And I have a lot of them, and I'm like, well, I can't get rid of this. Like it's my own merchandise.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't get me stuff anymore.
I did give away
Don't give me
those
Swish stuff.
the Pride
Ish.
tees that were like not soft.
I got rid of those.
I got rid of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Just
because
they weren't soft.
Because we.
I
swapped
feel
out
bad
the
getting rid of
t-shirt.
it.
They're
that
not
too, but I
soft.
wasn't
I know, but
doing
like
anything
I have
with
this
them.
thing in my head, like so I was in a sorority, and my best friend was also in the same one, and she's like, no, like you're not supposed to give anything like away, like you're supposed to give it back to like the sorority, like if you want to get allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but this is what she was telling me. So like it's ingrained in my head that like you can't get rid of Swish stuff, like
I only got rid of it because
Donate
they're
it.
not soft.
oh I'll sleep in anything.
Ethan
the
said
record-
that. Yeah, go for it, Katie.
They're with a new company now, so they are
Yeah.
soft.
So they're
Yeah,
soft again.
yeah, that was the first time around. So.
Yeah.
Ethan said I'm getting super buff, so none of my clothes fit my muscles anymore. There's so much truth in that. It's outrageous. No, but I have been lifting consistently. I think I'm on the 4th week of my program, and I don't want to sound too gym headed. You know what I'm saying? But the shoulder pumps have been real lately.
So
I'm proud of you.
No, I'm
my
just really
God.
excited. I am making a lot of progress, and I'm seeing a lot of progress, which is really, really cool. That's all I have. We've talked about me way too long. Go.
I agree.
No, let's go back to me for a second, just for Sarah. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So now, when this is out, will be February. So Katie and I will be picking new books, and we'll be finished with our January books by then.
I read some today.
So did I. So the next book that we're reading for February is a book that was turned into a movie. and I decided that I'm gonna read Little Women because I've never read it.
There you go.
I said one and now I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you officially picked one yet.
Send me some recommendations.
They just did in the
What's
Discord
the theme
chat.
for it?
A book,
Book
that
was
has been turned into a movie.
that I haven't read before.
Harry
Oh,
Potter.
I was gonna say that.
And let's see, the weekend that this episode comes out, Grown Up Kids will be back on.
Guess who's
Mhm.
back?
Back again.
And actually, the second episode, when this one comes out, the second episode is The Sword and the Stone. I'm excited about that
I
one.
love that movie.
That's
I haven't
such a
watched
good
that movie
movie.
in so long.
It's so good.
What am I
Oh,
going to be back on for?
I don't know. We
That-
added, so we made an executive. I'm sorry, go ahead, Katie.
that Simon book.
Oh, that's
Love
right.
Simon.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
Simon.
yeah.
Such
Such
I
a
love the
good
movie. I know, I wanted
Such
the
a good
book.
movie.
So we made the executive decision with Katie's Uncle Drew that we are adding in all of the Star Wars films and all of the Marvel films because 5 Marvel films were not associated with Disney either. So like Iron Man 1 and 2 weren't on the list, but Iron Man 3 was. And I'm like, I'm not going to
That's
talk about
dumb.
Iron Man 3 and not Iron Man 1 and 2. So we're adding them.
What's happening?
So we also
I don't
made
understand.
the decision to add in all of the Star Wars films.
Iron Man's
so
good.
you guys can be on for those.
Okay.
What's a Star Wars, though?
But we've got a while. It's like that's in like 10 years from where we're at.
What year are you in?
63.
Okay.
More than 10 years.
Jiminy.
What came out in 70 something? 78, 79?
Yeah.
Did the
That's
other
a
two
lot of
come out in the
movies.
80s?
But not really, honestly. Like if you
No?
think about it, because so like we were going through the list to add these in, and when we were in the early years, it was like 5 movies came out that year, 6, 4, 5. Like, but then you get to like the 90s, and then it's like 20 movies came out in a year. It's just insane, like the growth.
The 90s, yeah. That was a big
Yeah.
Disney boom.
Or like even like compared to now too, it's like how many Disney movies are coming out in a year.
God, how many live action,
Yeah.
Right.
whatever's.
Oh my God! Also, speaking of live action,
Did you see?
We watched Lady and the Tramp.
That's not what I was talking about.
Cute.
So
Did you cry?
good for Lady and the Tramp?
Yes. Don't act confused.
Did I?
I haven't
cry.
watched it yet.
Oh
I
my.
don't know if I did, but
Oh,
it's so cute.
Weepy, weepy, weepy.
What were you gonna ask me, Mulan?
No, Bambi.
Oh, I know. I don't know.
And Marty's like,
That's gonna be
I don't
really
want to see
sad.
that.
I know.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad.
Yeah. No, X-Men is not included in the Grown Up Kids list. That's not Marvel. It's I don't know what it is. It's something else.
Isn't it
DC?
DC?
Yeah, and Disney doesn't own that
Yet.
yet.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
But we're not adding in like all the Fox movies and like all the Touchstone movies and
when did they acquire that? Recently?
yeah, like we're not doing
That's-
that. We
that's
made an
too much.
executive decision with only Star Wars and like the 5 Marvel Avengers series, so like Captain America, Hulk, Thor, and
That
then the
tied
2
into
Iron
the
Man that
one.
tied into the rest of them. Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't. X-Men is Marvel apparently. I have no idea, but no, I don't believe that X-Men's on the list.
I
And
don't know.
Well,
I
'cause
don't
they're
know
not
the
owned,
supers.
Like, it's weird. Like the whole, all the way, like it's who owns what. Like they own even like specific characters. I think like some people do. So like when Ryan Reynolds was making Deadpool,
Oh,
he
yes,
really
yeah.
wanted. I forget what that girl's name is. Like her character name is, and he had to like do like because however he was making it, they didn't own it. Like DC or Marvel or whomever owned the character's name and like the rights to the character. And he's like, no, I have to have her in my movie because like that's a perfect name. Like she's a perfect character. Like I have to have her. So he like did some back business, to get. the
There's
rights.
weird
Some
things
celebrity
with the
things.
contracts and stuff too, because like Universal has a bunch of the Marvel,
Yeah, that's still at their park.
yeah, and like it's very confusing.
How long are they going to keep that there? Are they going to
They
take that
have
down?
to be allowed to keep it. That's in the contract.
So it's staying.
Mhm.
It's not going to be like changed for the big new park.
No,
They can't add anything, correct?
no, they can't.
No.
add.
Okay.
They can't add, but they are not required to take away.
Not to be a Debbie of any kind, but that part of Universal,
Oh, it
every time I've
sucks.
been there, is dead.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's because Harry Potter's there and nobody cares about the rest of it.
Well, they need to make Jurassic Park better. I mean, and they
are,
are,
right? They
but
are.
like, I don't know. I've never
hear
been
ya.
impressed with it.
I hear you.
I
Yeah,
was when I was a
I'm-
kid.
So excited
Mhm.
for Epic Universe. It's gonna be really awesome.
What new
What?
Potter thing are they going to add? We don't know.
Am I allowed to talk now? Is it my turn?
I mean, I don't really know.
Katie never really talked.
Now we're looking for a new apartment, and we're excited.
And we think we found one, and
Yeah.
I love
When can
it.
you move?
Not until like June or July.
Why are
but
you looking?
because we've been burned last time. We don't want to like
Yeah, I'm not
have them
messing
run out of
around.
a spot or something.
Okay. This far in advance?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow.
I wanna be on
Especially
my A
because
game,
July
man.
is like literally the busiest time of the year to move.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's nice out.
Realistically, we can't really put our name anywhere till probably like
April.
May. But we just want to look now.
But at
'cause
least
when
we
have
know
the
what
time.
we want. And we found a place, and I'm so excited.
Well, I hope you get it.
Thanks. Now you can talk.
Okay. I have two things to say. First, I'm going to talk about something sad because I want to talk about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
when we're recording this, it just happened yesterday that he and several other people were killed in a helicopter crash. And I completely forgot, because I'd seen him on something, that he was a huge Harry Potter fan.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
were pointing that out.
Yeah, and he used to, and still, like with his 3-year-old, he would play Hedwig's theme to put his kids to sleep.
That's perfect.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I believe he was a
has
Slytherin.
Yeah, he's made a lot of like Harry Potter references in interviews and stuff in the past too.
And he like wrote a book and like drew on kind of like reading Harry Potter, because it's like, I believe, like a wizard book that he wrote. But it's just super sad that everyone
It's
in-
terribly tragic.
yeah, I was like really like, I don't
was
normally get up
shocked.
like, it's sad when people die, and like if I don't know them. I've never cried like hearing like a celebrity died. I cried a lot when Luke Perry died. Don't ask me why. It was very sad. I never met him, but like I watched Riverdale a ton, and still have not watched it like since he died. Like I have not finished it.
I cried when I was watching the news and they were talking about Kobe yesterday.
Yeah, it was
It's
so
just
sad.
I didn't
I was crying
cry,
this
but it
morning.
was very. It's sad.
When the news broke that
To
his
think
daughter
about
was
that.
on there.
Yeah. It's just
Well,
it's heartbreaking.
I wish our news would not
my
report
God.
things before they have all the facts. Just
And-
saying.
And
Yeah.
Before the
news-
family knew.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
before the
That's
family knew, TMZ sucks.
Correct.
2, they cut into the Pro Bowl. Okay, they cut into the Pro Bowl and announced that all 4 of his daughters were on there with him. They had no idea. Why
Yeah.
would they do that?
Somebody lost their job yesterday.
I hope.
Or a bunch of somebody's.
That was ridiculous.
So my heartfelt like thoughts and prayers are with everyone that was on board and their families, because that's just a tragic loss. And everyone that was
can't.
affected, it's just so sad, and it kind of makes you think that life is short, life is precious. So hug your loved ones, and it really is a bunch of people were posting yesterday, like it's a privilege coming back to your house at the end of the day.
It is, absolutely.
And like not just them, there's people going off to war and they don't come home, or they're just going to work and they don't come home. And
I really feel for the people who weren't on that helicopter who lost family. I
Yeah.
can't imagine
Yeah.
being
Friends.
Vanessa Bryant right now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being the 2 kids that lost their sister, mom, and dad.
yeah,
I can't imagine being the husband that lost his wife and they has 3 or 4 kids
yeah,
that their mom didn't get to come home.
yeah,
Like, and they were just traveling to go play basketball. Like,
Yeah.
just crazy.
yeah. It's very sad. So our hearts are out to them, and to everyone. And a lot of his friends were players, and I think that's something like in basketball. You think that there's a lot of rivalries between the guys.
But there's not.
There's not. Like if you listen to them talk, they talk about like how they're texting each other, behind the scenes, and like they're all really good friends.
Yeah.
So, and
And
to
it's-
everyone that went and played yesterday, like props
Power,
to
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of.
They've postponed the Lakers game on Tuesday. They're
Yeah.
not playing.
Yeah.
Did they?
Mhm.
Good.
Mark Cuban also said that nobody for the Mavericks would ever wear the number 24 again
Yeah.
in honor of Kobe. So every time you shoot something, whether it's trash into a trash can or your laundry into a hamper, and there's a whole generation of us that know this, and when you shoot that shot and you say, Kobe, don't stop that.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
And just hug your loved ones a little tighter today. And I'm going to talk about something that's not going to make me cry.
Do it.
So my other things that I've been doing, school has started. That's fun, and but not because it's school. But I just realized, and I knew this last year, that this show that I used to watch when I was like, my brother pointed out it came out almost 20 years ago, and I was like, that's not true. And they redid it. It was Fruits Basket, so it's an anime and a manga, but I don't think I ever read it, to be honest with you. I might have read some of them, but I used to watch it like all the time with my sister and her best friend, and they are redoing it, and so the first season was out, and I literally watched it like in less than 24 hours, and I really enjoyed it. I'm glad they got most of the people that did the voices back 20 years ago, because I've watched it several times, so I'm grateful they got most of like the main character, her name is Toru. So like Toru and Kyo and Yuki, those are like the three main people basically. I'm glad that they have the same people, because I said to my sister, I'm like, if they didn't, I'd be very upset. So I watched that. I really enjoyed it. And now I'm rewatching Inuyasha. So fun anime things. Yay.
Things
That's cool.
you didn't know about Sarah.
Yeah. I'm not like, I'm not crazy about stuff, because like I watch what my sister watched when I was a kid. And then I have to ask her a million questions. Like, I've watched some Inuyasha. I've never watched the entire thing. And then I have to annoy my sister, because I'm like, so what happens here? And what's it? And I don't remember that. I have to do the same thing with Doctor Who. But fun fact, the very first fan fiction I ever read was an Inuyasha fan fiction that they printed out like 20 years ago. No, that's a lie.
I've read
Less
a couple
than.
Fruits Basket.
I
really, really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, that's
I read
good.
a Legend of Zelda fanfic about like a war in Hyrule, like Ocarina of Time, like type thing, where like everybody came out and like fought Ganondorf and Ganon. And I wish I knew. Oh, I printed it and everything, and I don't know where it's at.
Just ask our listeners, because they found that Ron and Hermione fanfic that I was obsessed with.
Right.
I also used to watch Sailor Moon all the time, and it's now on Hulu. So I might watch
my
that
God.
too.
Cool.
But I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait for like season 2 of Fruits Basket to come out, because like where it ended in the original show is like roughly where its first season ended, and there's at least like 2 or 3 more seasons. Or 2 more seasons, I think. So I'm very excited. I'm like, I want to see what I know. I mean, I looked it up. I know what happens, because I had to know. But I enjoy it. So if you like, it's like a good show. There's like weird things. I was like watching it, and Tiffany's like, "Don't even talk to me about it," because it was like, because like it's part of like the Selma
just-
family is cursed,
it
and
is
like all this
not
other stuff.
my thing.
It's so good.
They were talking
do you
about
want to hear
it,
something so funny?
and I was like, no, don't even try to explain anything to me.
So my favorite character is Kyo. I just love him. And when we watched this originally, so like when I was like 11, he had this black and white bracelet where like in the new show it's kind of like black and red, like beads. And Bridget, myself, and Maya, which is Bridget's best friend, made the bracelets because we wanted to like be like Kyo, whose like spirit thing is the cat. And so like he would wear it, and I remember I made like, because we had extra beads, I made I made a necklace out of it, and my grandma was like, "Oh, Sarah, that's so cute. You should go into jewelry making." But I didn't want to be like, "No, grandma, like I stole this design from like this anime character that I like loved."
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So yeah, it's a good show. It's on Hulu if you got it, and other things. Funimation, I think, is like the actual thing or something. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of like, I rewatched some of it last night because I couldn't sleep, and then I started watching Inuyasha again.
I got a girlfriend.
Yeah. But
No.
other than that, school, skiing, wine, fun times.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So that was the first half of chapter 6. So when we come back next time, it will be the second half, which is
Yeah, it will.
full of
Allegedly.
details. So for the greater good, nobody wants to. Okay. That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just my voice!
Road trip with the
I
new
mean,
pupper.
a dog is worth it.
Correct. Sing something.
Something.
Peaches, sing something.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And this is what he's muttering under his breath. Except for the filthy rag tied. Nope, that's not.
this is a quote. It's a quote from the book, but not from.
This is what happens when I've been up since 4:30 or 4:45 for no reason. Oh, jeez.
Bye.
Bye.
Hope you join us on Discord.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I say goodbye to you.